Stoutmeister here, and today Onision is at it again. And for this particular topic, I wanted to get a very good friend of mine on YouTube to do this video with me. Say hello to the Mr. Random Xbox.
I have cancer from this video.
I got cancer, AIDS, and just about every illness from this video. Onision talking about gun control and talking about how other forms of killing is way better than using guns. And this little video was inspired by a couple of YouTubers that did their videos on it as well, and I'm gonna link their channels and their videos in the description down below. One's from Thrash Metal Guru, aka the Metallica Guru, who is a good friend of mine, and Some Gay 827, who does a phenomenal job exploiting Onision and the way he's just a narcissistic egomaniac.
Oh, and he's also the same one who exposed Onision's closeted racism.
His racism, his religion that he made when he was, what, 17 years old?
It was something like that. All I know is that about that religion, it was something like Onision believed that, like, the earth was an all-knowing being that birthed us. Okay, so why are we here? To take care of the earth. Okay, why does the earth need us to take care of it? Let me know when you figure that one out. And then I might laugh at your religion a little bit less. But it's still pretty freaking hysterical.
The same guy that got kicked out of the Air Force, out of the military. The same guy that has put his wives through hell. And filmed Shiloh having her little breakdown.
Oh, and then decided to claim that these were accidental uploads. Sorry, how do you accidentally upload a video? Stout, let me walk you through this process, okay? I have to go up in the top right of my screen. I have to click upload. I have to select the file. Then I have to click upload. I have to name this video. And I have to write the description down, including adding tags. Now that's a lot of stuff for a person to do accidentally.
Well, you know how he loves to come up with excuses just to cover his ass, and the sheeple that watch and support this motherfucker just buy it. And if he uploads anything that's too out there, that's exploiting him too much, he'll take it down. But I don't think he will take this video down, considering that a lot of people are starting to support gun control to the point of just taking away the rights of the American people.
Or you have a lot of people using recent tragedies, including the parents and victims of said tragedies. Like, it's my problem is here. It's like, when it comes to these people, especially like the parents and victims of these, the parents of the victims and the victims themselves, I say this: I am sorry about what happened. I truly am. But do not take it out on me.
Oh, but wait, we're only limiting your access to 10 cartridges of ammo for your guns.
Sorry, but we all know how politicians work. Give them an inch and they'll take a freaking mile. Sorry, no, you're not getting anything from me. I will not budge.
Hell, they start off with small laws like this, and stepping stones go along, and eventually your guns are taken away. This happened with Hitler, this happened with Stalin, this happened in North Korea, China, the UK, Australia. A good portion of the world has massive gun control to the point where citizens can't have guns.
Oh, and Stout, what is the one thing that these countries all have in common? An extraordinarily high crime rate. Especially violent crimes and rapes. At least in some of them.
Oh yeah, especially Australia with house robberies, but we're getting a little too ahead of ourselves in this video. Let's exploit Onision some more.
Ooh, goody.
Hey guys, I was watching The Daily Show, which all of you should watch if you like to laugh and know what's going on in the world.
Any comment about Jon Stewart?
Besides the fact that, controversial opinion coming up here, folks. He sucks. Ooh! Goodness gracious. I just felt all the dislikes click right there. I just felt them.
Different opinion. That's bad. We can't have that on YouTube. No, 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 no. It's our way or the highway. Oh, but what do you think about getting all of your news information from the Daily Report from Jon Stewart?
Oh, well, that would be like me taking all of my news articles from Cracked. It's funny. Cracked is funny. Jon Stewart's not, I should clarify. But it's probably not the most reliable thing on the planet. Really, honestly, no news source is. Because they all have a freaking agenda. Jon Stewart's left. Stephen Colbert is actually left, but he's a parody of the right. CNN is very left. I believe, is it MSNBC that's really, really left?
I believe so. I know CNN is left, and I know Fox, obviously, the most reliable news station, is far, far right.
I love Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, just the way he talks about the mainstream culture and how Marilyn Manson is such a bad influence. He's so informative and very, very smart. Those people that he interviews just have nothing to say because he's so right about everything.
Like I just said, never a miscommunication.
Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. I'm going to be drinking from my mug right here throughout this entire commentary as well. It's my little gift to Onision right here.
Actually, Stout, I need to tell you something. Knowing Onision, it might take more than just one good drink of that for the message to get across.
Oh, what are you suggesting? I already got Monster Dub Fruit Punch Edition. I might be done with this cup by the time we're done with this commentary. What else are we suggesting? What else are you suggesting?
Well, I don't know. The faith in humanity counter should probably stick to the metal is Illuminati thing. No, I've already hit my head against the wall. I've already face-palmed too much. And you have the mug. I don't know. I don't know. I'll think of something eventually. Just remind me.
Wait. Super Orion 91, a very good friend of mine, influenced the face guitar for one of my videos I did on a musician recently.
Face guitar? I do not believe I've seen that one. It sounds painful.
Oh, let Super Orion 91 show you how it works.
Hello everyone, Super Orion here, and I'm going to teach you how to do a face guitar. You take a guitar and you hold it up like so, and this is usually whenever you listen to bad music, and what you do is that you take the guitar, you hold it like this, and you do this number. Let me show it to you again. Alright. And it doesn't matter what kind of guitar you use. You can use a 7-string, you can use an 8-string, you can use a 6-string. Hell, use a 12-string. It doesn't really fucking matter. Anyway, this is Super Orion 91. Have a good one.
And thank you for demonstrating that for us again, Super Orion 91. We shall be using your video every time Onision makes a very bad point in his video. Now, enough chatter. Let's watch this god-awful video Onision has to offer.
Oh, wait. Roll intro, sorry.
That was the most scripted thing ever, Onision. Fuck yeah!
I should honestly kill you for stealing from some guy 827. You repugnant sack of human fecal matter. And yes, that was a mild parody of Cameo Bams.
Well, I gave him credit in this video, so yeah.
Okay, so I was watching The Daily Show and I actually learned a lot about gun control, and I kind of wanted to regurgitate the information to all of you so you also know more about gun control. First of all, please let me know in the comments if you're for gun control or you're against it. Okay, so apparently Japan is a very safe place when it comes to not being around guns. As you can see on this chart, there's almost no homicides, no suicides, no unintentional deaths, literally no unintentional deaths with guns. So let's go ahead and look up what their gun law.
No unintentional deaths. And from the statistics you got on Japan, the most recent date you could look up was 1990.
1990 freaking 4. Sorry for interrupting. Wait a minute. No, I'm not. 1994. Stout, that's what? 19, almost 20 years ago?
19 years.
Yeah, that's up to date. That's really up to date. That's before I was born. It's really up to date information.
I was 2 to 3 years old in 1994.
I was only a sperm in 1994. No, I probably wasn't even a sperm in 1994.
God. And okay, so lots of gun control, so Japan is a safe place. What about the groping that happens on the train stations constantly and on the sidewalks of Japan? And what about the high suicide rates that go on in Japan? They even have a forest dedicated to people going into the forest and killing themselves.
They pull out a new body out of this forest. Like, I think, what is, like, every few weeks they find a new body? There, if I remember right, there are literally parts of the forest that are so thick that you can't see. It's almost dark. Oh, and let's also talk about the fact that because of all of this sexual harassment problem in Japan, they're proposing women-only sidewalks.
Oh, let's read into that really quick now, shall we?
Oh, yes, let's.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, we got a pretty little Asian woman up there. Okay, huh? Just recently, an online debate emerged as to whether or not the controversial women-only carriage was legal. But once again, the issue of public groping, or chikan, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, incidents in Japan has come to the fore. Japanese celebrity Sato Raiko is being criticized by netizens for her suggestion of a woman-only sidewalk after she was groped in the street by a passing cyclist. Most netizens strongly disagree with Sato's suggestion, with some decrying it as feminism gone mad. Do you think women in Japanese society need more measures to protect their personal safety? Well, obviously, there's got to be more protection.
Or, better yet, you could just, I don't know, maybe make these things more, what's the word I'm looking for? Punishable?
Yeah, more punishable. If the law were to get involved, drastic measures have to be done, but we can also try self-defense as well. But then again, that's vigilantism, and that's very, very frowned upon in today's society in general.
You know what? Honestly, if I thought a vigilante could get the job done better than the police, which, let's just be honest, at least in America, I believe the average police response time is like 20 minutes. A vigilante probably could get the job done better. And that's pathetic. It really is pathetic.
And we're not saying that you have to use guns. No. You can also use martial arts. You can also just use your hands and feet and use any other weapon. But if you have to use a gun and if your life really is in that much danger, there should be no problem in defending yourself, especially when the 911 operator doesn't get out to the police fast enough.
Oh, and also, okay, now here's the thing. Let me read you what she says. She says, quote, she was groped for the first time in 10 years, and she even fingered the wrong guy. I just realized how bad out that came. And yeah, I know this is probably not something to joke about, sorry. But I just don't know if, like in this case, if women-only sidewalks would work. But I don't think we should get too caught up in this. But I think the point that we're trying to make here is that Japan does not have an incredibly low sexual harassment rate, and it has a pretty high one, apparently, if it's enough to warrant people actually demanding gender-separated sidewalks, and to the point where, we also have a freaking suicide forest. Clearly, Japan is not that safe a place.
Oh no, wait, yes it is, because there's strong gun laws there. There are less murders with guns. in Japan because of strong gun laws. Onision says so. You know how right he is. You know how smart about everything he is. He's Onision. He's higher than Jesus Christ, for God's sakes.
Oh, no. Just no.
And continuing.
Okay, according to this site, handguns are banned. Out of 130 million people in Japan, only 7 people died from gun violence. Meanwhile, in the US, thousands of us are being killed by guns. Because a lot of us seem to believe that if we don't have guns, it means somebody's gonna kill us.
Which can happen, Onision. Especially when you have families that advertise themselves as gun-free homes.
Also, let's also talk about the fact that prisoners were surveyed, and 3 out of 5 said that they would not attack a victim who was armed.
Why would they? They know that they would be risking their lives breaking into that person's house.
Oh, and let's also talk about this really, really quickly. Get this out of the way, because Chicago. Since, Onision, you're clearly talking about places that have very strict gun laws. Chicago, some of the strictest gun laws in the country, has one of the highest violent crime and murder rates in the country. Let that sink in. Strictest gun laws, highest crime rates. I live in the South. We have very loose gun laws, and we have relatively low crime rates. Guarantee you, down here, you break into someone's house, you're not walking out. Sorry, it just isn't gonna freaking happen.
But clearly, Onision was an Obama voter and supporter, obviously.
I don't even know if this dude does vote. I hope he doesn't, to be honest. I really just don't want that much insanity of potentially affecting my life. I'm sorry, it's just, no. Onision, please, since you're clearly not a patriot, please do us all a favor. Don't vote.
Oh, we'll get into the patriotism part of this video a little later. Continuing.
Hong Kong gun laws. Okay, so what CNN is pointing out is that in China, somebody attacked a bunch of children with a knife, and none of them died. Meanwhile, in America, somebody attacked a bunch of children with a gun, and of course the gun was far more effective in ending their lives.
And clearly that makes China better than the United States, because the murderer that killed those children at Sandy Hook was, oh man, it just makes China look better overall, just because the guy that tried to kill all those children with the knives, it's just better because it was with a knife. You're literally leaving me speechless, Onision, as to how stupid that fucking comment is. The only difference we have here is that those children in China have the trauma, whereas the only people that have the trauma from the Sandy Hook shootings is the family and friends of those children and the teachers and the administrators that got fucking killed.
Let's just talk here, Onision, okay? So, you're saying that the gun is more effective. True. I will admit that. But let's talk about other things that are also plenty effective. Okay? Now, if I were to, let's just use this is going to be morbid, okay? So if you're easily offended by something, I highly advise that you go and live under a rock. What I'm about to say is going to be rather morbid. If I wanted to kill a bunch of people, and I wanted to do it quietly, do you know that I could use a knife just as effectively as a gun? I could very easily walk into a crowd of people and just start stabbing. It would be very easy, especially if it's a moving crowd. Do you know why? Because they're not going to know who's doing it. For all they know, the person they just walked by just cut their femoral artery. It's that simple.
Oh, but clearly Hong Kong is the better place just because they have really strict gun laws over there. But then again, even if we don't have guns, there, don't even get us started on the whole black market of this whole thing. We already have a black market with drugs right now. We had a black market with alcohol in the 1920s. We're gonna have another black market for sure.
We also have a black market for prostitution, and we see how well all three of these things have worked. Stout, I have a question. Okay, drugs are illegal where you're at, correct?
Correct.
Now, if you really wanted a hit of acid, you could probably find a way to get it relatively easily, couldn't you?
I could. I know people that know those certain people as well, but I stay away from drugs. I've seen what it's done to people in my life. I choose to stay away from that for my well-being, but I'm not going to force my morals on anybody else.
Unlike good old Greg here. But anyway, so I'm just saying, but you see my point though. It's very, very easy. Simply making something illegal isn't going to affect anybody except the ones who want to obey the law. Guess what? But we'll get into that later, I think. Sorry.
Criminals don't follow the law. They are lawbreakers.
They are lawbreakers by definition. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Oh, just for the hell of it, let's look up the definition of criminal really quick before going back to watching Greg spew his bullshit. Would you like to do the honors of reading the definition of criminal?
I would not, but I will anyway. Alright, one moment, please. Alright, here we go. I have found the definition of criminal. Stout, the definition of criminal is, in fact, of involving or having the nature of crime, relating to the administration of penal law, guilty of crime, characteristic of a criminal, shameful or disgraceful, one that has been committed or legally convicted of a crime. So, by definition, criminals do not obey the law. They commit a crime, and a crime, by definition, is breaking the law. Thank you.
Continuing, and thank you very much for reading that definition for our lovely viewers out there and for the idiotic Onision fantards that are out there. And if Onision is watching this video. Continuing.
Oh, I would love for him to watch this video.
But in a general sense, if you just take the time to look it up, you'll find that countries that have gun control laws that are extreme experience far less gun violence. And as you can see from this article, when people seek out alternatives to guns due to their unavailability in their country, they are far less successful in killing people. How does this not prove to us that our country should significantly restrict the use of guns? I don't understand it at all. If you guys want to use guns so bad, why don't you just do the most patriotic thing, because you apparently are so for patriotism, by joining the military?
By joining the military, you are being the most patriotic person in your home country. That is bullshit. Although it is a patriotic action, if you're going to join the military for genuine reasons like protecting the country, but being more patriotic is also standing up to tyrannical governments and overthrowing them when that time comes.
We'll need to find this out, because I didn't know that you were going to be bringing that point up. But when I find out who made a quote, it was something along the lines of the most patriotic thing a person can do is overthrow a tyrannical government. I think it was Jefferson. I could be wrong. But Onision, let me tell you something about patriotism. Patriotism is the love of one's country. Actually, it is different from nationalism. Nationalism is the belief that your country is the greatest of all. So these people who say America is the greatest country of all, that is not patriotism. That's actually the definition of nationalism. So, now that we're done talking about that, Onision, I will have no freaking preaching from you about joining the military. You got kicked out of the Air Force, and you are an absolute disgrace to this military. Yes, I hope you are offended and insulted, because you should be. You are an absolute disgrace.
And wasn't it because he wouldn't shoot a rabbit?
That is what he claims, but it's highly unlikely that they will kick you out for one thing. So if you ask me, and I have to agree with these guys at onisiondrama.com, who I will be linking in the description, or I will at least give to Stout for him to link in the description. It is quite unlikely that you would be kicked out of the military for one act that they did not like. It would take multiple strikes against you to do that, unless they are really, really, like, for lack of a better term, overpopulated and overhiring. In that case, they'll kick you out for anything. But, no offense, Greg, I will have no preaching from you. Thank you very much.
Continuing.
Where they have tons of guns that won't be affected by gun laws.
I am a patriot. I believe in the Constitution. Blah, blah, blah.
You say, hey, you love your country so much, join the military. And they're like, now let's check out the United Kingdom's gun laws. Okay, so in the UK, a country with very strict gun laws, not even a full person out of every 100,000 citizens commits gun violence. Whereas the gun violence in the United States is more than 4 times that. According to this, in 2011, 31,940 people died from gun-related incidents, just in the United States. If you do the math, that means if we adopted the UK's gun laws some time ago, in 2011, we would have saved 24,755 people. That's about how many lives the people voting for less gun control are costing us every single year. In just the last 4 years, that's almost 100,000 people that could have been saved. So to all the gun rights activists out there, why don't you just think about what you're doing next time before you vote? And I want to make something clear, in a lot of these countries, guns aren't entirely banned, they're just very, very difficult to get. So we're not really talking about ripping your gun out of your safe in your house and saying you can no longer fire a weapon for the rest of your life, but rather more so just being responsible with these firearms.
Oh, and being responsible with these firearms. Baby steps. Baby steps. You have strict, really, really strict gun laws. Eventually, it goes into taking guns away from citizens. Law-abiding citizens.
Oh, I was actually a little bit ahead of you, and he's about to bring up Hitler, Castro, Gaddafi, Stalin, Idi Amin, Mao Zedong, otherwise known as Mao Zedong, I believe. Pol Pot, and Kim Jong-il. Let's continue, Stout, and let's see where Greg takes us on this magical journey of stupidity.
Alright.
See, here's some propaganda against gun control. Hitler was a great speaker. That means anybody who's a great speaker is automatically a communist. Stalin wore a uniform. That means anybody who wears a uniform obviously wants to kill a lot of people. Here's more propaganda saying that I guess because this girl's holding a shotgun and she's attractive, that automatically makes gun laws reasonable.
People don't think that gun laws are reasonable just because an attractive woman is advertising with a gun. People like guns to be able to fucking defend themselves from anybody that is out to harm them and to protect themselves, their family. Hell, some people use guns for sport, for hunting. A lot of people do not use guns to kill people.
I use guns to hunt and for target practice because I value the skill of marksmanship. Oh, but wait a minute, apparently I'm a bad freaking person and a moron, and apparently the only thing I think of when I see guns is a shotgun and a woman with a nice pair of breasts. No, sorry, I think of, hey, meat's getting pretty expensive, and we have a lot of deer around here. I think, I'll go get a deer, save my family some money, and eat healthier meat. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, Greg. You'd be against that, wouldn't you? Ha, ha, ha. Oh, you kidder, you. Pardon me while I kill myself.
'Twas a very sad day when the Mr. Random Xbox was overwhelmed by the stupidity of the dear old Greg.
Oh, but don't worry, British girls look fine without their guns. You know who's assigned to protect your family? The police.
And remember the response time that we were talking about, Random Xbox?
Oh, I believe I do. Something about the average police response time being somewhere near the area of, what was it, Stout? It wasn't 20 seconds, it wasn't 20 milliseconds, and it wasn't, I don't know, 20 half seconds, where it wasn't 20 over 2. Oh, that's right. It was 20 freaking minutes. Yeah, a lot can happen in 20 minutes. You know what can happen? Person can rob your house, blow your brains out, and be out before the cops are even out their freaking doors.
There's no logic with Greg. None. And I would find it very, very shameful if I were the head of my family and I didn't do anything on my part to protect my family. I would expect my wife and children to resent me for not at least making an attempt to protect my family from some psychopath that wanted to go on a killing spree.
But wait a minute, well, how do you know they're going on a killing spree? You know what? I don't know. But here's the thing. You break into my house, I'm going to assume the worst. Do you know why? Because there was an old phrase I loved. That front door wasn't for my protection, it was for yours. But continue what I was saying before I started coughing my brains out. If you break into someone's house, or my house at least, I'm going to assume the worst. I'm not going to sit here and walk up to you and say, "Excuse me, sir, do you have a firearm or any sort of weapon on you?" Why, yes, citizen, I do. Sir, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to remove that, sir. You see, we do not own any guns in this house. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not going to freaking happen. I'm not going to ask if you have a weapon. I'm not going to even try to, well, I'll say, I shouldn't say I won't try to look for a weapon, but whether or not you have one is going to be irrelevant. You broke into my house, you have violated my privacy, and as far as I'm concerned, you are threatening my life and my family's life. You are not going to walk out in one piece.
I would expect my family to hate me, to be disappointed in me, if I did nothing to try to protect them from anybody that could potentially harm them. And wait for the police? Oh, don't even get me started on police brutality and how the police take advantage of their power. Not all police, but a good chunk of them.
Heck, most police are decent enough. I know plenty. My neighbor is a cop. Really cool guy. He's really cool. But there are some cops I've met who personally, if they were on fire and I had a bucket of water, I'd drink the water. Okay?
And I remember watching a video on YouTube from like a couple years ago or something, and this 911 operator denied service for this person that made the call just because she used a couple swear words. It was either the operator or a cop, and the person ended up dying. If I happen to find that video again, I'll leave that in the description down below.
That is, I'm sorry, Greg, but the cops aren't reliable. And Stout, I don't know if you've been able to tell, but I have been relishing the opportunity to basically say why I think that this cretin in this video is an absolute turd, and why I think that he is an absolute blight on the intelligence of this website. I remember like when I first started talking to you about collabing, I distinctly remember mentioning to you that I was considering doing a video on Onision, but as you probably remember, I never did. Well, guess what? I consider this to be that video.
Oh, and thank you, Onision, for giving us that opportunity to collab with each other on this video. Cheers, really. This toast is for you, my friend.
But anyway, I think we need to finish this video, because once we finish this video, then I say we can go into maybe a little bit more detail as to why we think he is completely full of crap.
Let's go.
Let's go.
They're these magical people that if you just put in a few numbers to the phone, they show up to your house to protect you. There's also this weird thing called a security system, and mace, and tasers, and baseball bats. There's all kinds of things that you could use to protect yourself. Why do you need something that could kill a bunch of children in a school? It's not like the North Korean army is going to descend upon your house and the only way you can defend yourself is with a freaking Gatling gun. So be logical and invest in reasonable defense. When does 911 ever not answer?
Now CBS 4 investigates police officers on the clock but refusing to answer calls for help. It's a story that was hard to believe when we first started investigating.
But tonight we have the surveillance tapes. Officers being delinquent on duty. Here's CBS 4's investigator Jim DeFeeti.
15 on 29 just occurred, 122-124 pass.
3:46 p.m. in the Kendall district of Miami-Dade County, and an armed robbery is in progress.
15 on 29 just occurred, 122-124 pass. We don't have anybody out, I didn't take it.
The officer offering to respond is nowhere near the crime. It would be better if someone closer handled the call, so the dispatcher takes to the air again with added urgency.
Attention all units of 29 just occurred with a gun, cash taken, subject's a black male wearing a black hoodie, blue jeans, he fled on foot.
But there was someone closer, but he had his hands full. Instead of answering the repeated calls, Officer Dario Sakaris was canoodling with a young woman behind the Dayline Mall. As he continues to cuddle and kiss his girlfriend, his fellow officers were slogging their way to the call.
If they don't send someone right out to help you, then that probably means you're just a raving psychopath who thinks everything is an extreme situation, which probably implies that you shouldn't have a gun in the first place because you're mentally unstable. Ugh. Anyway, this has been Onision Speaks. Hopefully it was enjoyable for you. Have a wonderful day.
How freaking dare you? How dare you use that music at the end of this video? You repugnant waste of space. How dare you?
I would say that you're the sperm that your mom should have swallowed, but I don't think she's worthy of that. You are that freaking much of a narcissistic egomaniac that is a disgrace to humanity. Using the patriotic music of the United States at the end of your video when you're not promoting any sort of patriotism at all. You are basically promoting government control, whether you realize that in that thick skull of yours or not.
Also, Onision, the reason being that a lot of people treat everything like an extreme situation, because here's what happens. Imagine this. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and you are asleep in your bed with your wife. Your child is in the other room asleep. You hear a crash sound. What do you think? Your thoughts are not, okay, it's just a person breaking into my house, everything's going to be fine. It's, oh no, someone just broke into my house, I have to protect my family. You're not even thinking about The fact that, well, is this person armed? Are they not armed? Why are they here? Are they here just because they want to steal something? Are they here because they want to kill people? You're not thinking that. You're thinking protect, protect, protect. You are thinking this person is here to do something bad. I have to stop them. That's not bad. That's called parental instinct. That's spousal instinct. It's human instinct kicking in and saying self-preservation and defense of my loved ones. You freaking moron.
Oh, but he would not know anything about that. This is the same guy that would let the freaking murderer kill his own wife. If that opportunity ever came for the freaking robber. This is the same guy that has such a bad track record. I'm surprised he's still on fucking YouTube, while I've suffered with videos getting flagged, videos getting blocked in certain countries for reasons that should not even happen. But no, since Onision is one of the biggest YouTubers out there, we gotta give him the special treatment.
I'm just so furious. All right, Stout, what was that Thomas Jefferson quote I was telling you about earlier? Let me see if I can find it. Okay, one moment. Do. All right, 1 second. I'm going to have to Control F because I cannot find it. Let me look up arms. One loves to possess arms, though they hope they never to have occasion for them. That means one may love to own a firearm, but they hope they never have to use them. I own firearms. Most people in the South do. Most of us hope we never have to use it for anything other than target practice and hunting. What about you, Stout?
I've trained with guns. I've taken certification classes a few years back, but I was not old enough to get an actual certificate because in order to carry a concealed weapon, you have to be 21. And I was around 17, 18 at the time when I took the courses, and I still got to get my certification. Excuse me for butchering the English language, but we have Greg to thank for that with his sheer stupidity. But yeah, I've shot guns, concealed weapons, shotguns, and yeah.
All right. Now, here's another wonderful quote. Laws that forbid the carrying of arms disarm only those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crimes. Such laws make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailants. They serve rather to encourage and to prevent homicides, for an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. There you go, clear as crystal. 200 years ago, and even they thought what you're saying is complete and utter crap.
Our forefathers are rolling in their graves. They are breaking down. They are going through a mental breakdown with the direction that America is going towards right now, with our politicians and the ignorance from people like you.
This is stupid. Oliver Stone once said, I like automatic weapons. I fought for my right to use them in Vietnam. Lucius Annaeus Seneca said, a sword never kills anybody. It is a tool in the killer's hand. Robert Heinlein once said, there are no dangerous weapons, there are only dangerous men. James Earl Jones says, the world is filled with violence because criminals carry guns. We decent law-abiding citizens should also have guns. Otherwise, they will win, and the decent people will lose.
But wait. Guns kill people. Well, by that logic, spoons make you fat. Cars also help murderers. Not the people driving the cars, but the cars themselves come to life and they help criminals get away. Money. We should get rid of money also because they fund for the black market and for corrupt politicians.
Oh, and here's one that is honestly going to blow you out of your seat, okay? Now, I mean that really. This is something that's going to literally throw you off guard. I'm just going to warn you. I do believe that where there is a choice only between cowardice and violence, I would advise violence. Do you want to know who said that?
Oh, who said that?
Mahatma Gandhi.
Gandhi. The guy that promoted peace.
Freaking Gandhi. Yes. Gandhi, he believed in peaceful protest when possible, but he said if there was only the choice between cowardice and violence, go with violence. Freaking Gandhi.
Oh, didn't you also say something about the Dalai Lama, too?
Oh, yeah, I almost forgot about the Dalai Lama. Stout, I believe I sent you a quote right there. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there we go. Here we go. I hope you enjoyed my little tune. Copyright the Mr. Random Xbox 2013. Dalai Lama the 14th. If someone has a gun and is trying to kill you, it would be reasonable to shoot back with your own gun. The freaking Dalai Lama.
But these people aren't as intellectual as Onision, obviously, so they don't know what they're talking about. They're just promoting violence. And they want more innocent children to die because, let's face it, politicians love to exploit the children. And they think they know the best for the children. When these are the same politicians that are set on destroying the country for the sake of self-interest.
I actually saw a funny quote. And the sad thing is, it's very, very true. Now, I don't have a problem with Democrats, but you'll understand my point when I say this. It was something along the lines of, the only time Democrats won't use children as a prop is at a pro-choice rally. That is dark, but it is true. I wonder how many people I just ticked off by saying, by basically implying that I am very much against abortion. That's what, 2 or 3 times on this channel, Stout?
I would say so, and even then, you're speaking your views on abortion, and people just need to fucking learn. And they need to learn how to at least tolerate other people with different opinions. Especially from rational people, but no, we don't ever want to focus on the rational side of humanity from any group. We always have to focus on the radical atheists, we also have to focus on the radical Christians, the radical Islams, the radical Jewish people, the radical, just anybody radical. Or, yeah.
Well, actually, the thing is, my view on that whole thing, actually, Stout, you know what? It doesn't come from religion, it comes from science. And it comes from science, basically saying that life begins at conception. But this is a topic for another day. I'm just saying, the point, though, I was trying to make was that politicians love to exploit the children. Greg apparently likes to exploit children. Yes, that was a double statement. Well, see, I remember, I think it was some guy, 827, did the math, and he said, when Greg was marrying his first wife, his current wife was, like, I think, 9.
She was 9, and Greg is, 28 years old, and she's 16, 17, I believe. And that's implying that he is almost double her age. And I understand gaps in relationships, 16, 18, but 28, 16, 28, 17, You have somebody that has been out of college for a few years, is starting to settle down. Then you have someone that is entering young adulthood.
My biggest problem with the whole thing is that it's not the age difference, it's the maturity difference. And I'm sorry, I don't care how mature you are for your age, you are not fully matured by the time you are 18. I don't care. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. I'm 17, I'll be 18 this year, and I am not even close to fully matured.
Hell, science and psychology can show that not even a lot of 21-year-olds are really that mature. You mature right around your mid-20s when your brain stops developing. I would say that's about right.
I believe it is, and I know that women develop faster than men. They also mature faster than men. Okay, Stout, I just noticed something kind of funny on this. real quick let me go off topic one more time before we get back on topic. The tag on this thing is not religion, it's religion. I think that needs to go along with religion. That needs to go along. Best new words next to religion. Come on, don't tell me you forgot religion.
Religion. Well, let's explain to the viewers a little more about that.
For those of you who are new to us, when me and Stuff did the Metal is Illuminati series, they misspelled religion and said religion, and we decided to mock that for the rest of the video. And it was a lot of fun. But I think we need to get back on topic. Stout, should we give good old Greg some statistics?
Oh yeah. Let's give him some good statistics on gun facts.
Alrighty then. I have some right in front of me if you would not mind letting me read a few of them.
Go ahead.
Now, let's start by this. 270 million is the approximate number of civilian firearms in America. Over 200,000 times a year, women use a gun to defend themselves against sexual abuse. 3 out of 5 polled felons say that they won't mess with an armed victim. The U.S. has 88.8 guns per 100 residents, along with right in front of Yemen, which has 54.8. The highest international homicide rate per 100,000 residents is Honduras with 91.6. Now, let's also like this. Now, here we go. Nations with strict gun control laws have substantially higher murder rates than those who do not, in general, anyway. In fact, the 9 European nations with the lowest gun ownership rate have a combined murder rate three times that of the 9 European nations with the highest gun ownership rate. Now, I'm also going to do a little bit of math here for you. Now, here we go. Let's do 80 times 31,672. That comes out to 2,533,760. Now, Stout. Now, 2,533,760. You have two options here. Answer A says this number is the number of homicides plus accidents plus suicides. And answer B says this is the number of times that guns are used in self-defense. You have 10 seconds. Go.
It's used for self-defense. There are more self-defense cases than murder.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. What do we have for him, Johnny? Well, dude, it appears that we have absolutely nothing other than the knowledge that Greg is full of crap. Thank you, Johnny. Now, the UK is voted the most violent country in the US. Possession of handguns is illegal. The UK has 2,034 violent crimes per 100,000 people, whereas the US only has 466 per 100,000 people. In the decade following the Labour Party's election and banning of handguns in 1997, the number of recorded violent attacks soared by 77% to 1.2 million in 2007, more than 2 attacks a minute. Kitchen knives are also being used in as many as half of stabbings in the UK, and has prompted a group of doctors to call for a ban of long, pointed kitchen knives. Do you see the pattern here? People blaming the wrong freaking things. And what happens? Absolutely nothing but pure, unadulterated chaos.
It's just plain stupidity. Items don't live. Items are crafted by men. Human beings craft items for specific tasks. Kitchen knives. Most people use kitchen knives for cutting food. that would normally be hard to tear with your hands, or is used to cut food if you don't want to get your hands all messed up. But, you see with what happens when we let people like you get into power and influence the masses that are very, very impressionable. Like these gun control laws.
You know what happens, Greg, when people like you start getting into positions of power? Hell breaks loose. Oh, and by the way, on your little note about your little diatribe earlier about murders and rapes and assaults and yada yada, let me tell you something. According to the FBI, that ever since the U.S. adopted carried conceal laws, murders were reduced by 8.5%, rapes were reduced by 5%, aggravated assaults were reduced by 7%, and robberies were reduced by 3%. Now, these numbers do not sound like a lot, but you have to take into account that the U.S. has a population of several hundred million. So, when you take into account the number of murders that are committed every year and that were committed before this, the fact that these things went down and not up shows that we're probably going in the right direction by letting people carry firearms. Oh, and to everyone who advocates a gun-free zone and these signs that have a pistol with a cancel sign through it, yeah, let me tell you something. With just one exception, every public mass shooting in the U.S. since 1950 has taken place where citizens are banned from carrying guns. And despite strict gun regulations, Europe has had 3 of the worst 6 school shootings. Just saying. It's pretty clear by what I'm reading here, that this crap doesn't work. Gun control does not work. It will never work. As long as we are a violent species, it will not work. By the way, we're probably always going to be a violent species, considering we crave challenge, we crave competition, we crave conflict. There are honestly plenty of people out there who will start a fight with someone just because they need an adrenaline rush. They just need a fight. They need something. It just happens. We're a violent species. We always will be. We can try to control it, but it'll bust out eventually. That's where you get crap like robberies and murders and assaults and sometimes wars.
You can be an individual that is not really violent, but as a society, we haven't really evolved all that much. Our behaviors have changed slightly. We're not killing people on the spot as much, but we still condemn people that stray away from mainstream way of thinking.
Now, hey, Stout, do you want to know something about the police and the armed versus the armed citizen that Greg was talking about earlier?
Oh yeah, it was that thing that we were discussing about a little bit in the video earlier. Let's get more into that.
Well, no, it's not even that. This is different. This is something new. All right, now, do you want the number of police in the U.S.? 794,300. There are 800. That's not 800. There are 80 million gun-owning citizens. The police have an average of an 11% error rate. U.S. citizens have a 2% error rate. The average number of deaths of a shooting rampage stopped by police, 14.3. On average, the average number of deaths of a shooting rampage stopped by a citizen, 2.3. Why? Because they don't last as long, because someone's going to unload into whoever's unloading into a bunch of innocent people. The police kill an average of 606 criminals a year, whereas armed citizens kill 1,527. Now, granted, I would love it if we didn't have to kill people, but sorry, you break into someone's house, you try to rape someone, you try to kill someone, you assault someone or their family, you're gonna freaking die. Sorry. instinct kicks in, and higher brain function slows down. That's not just someone spouting crap here. That is confirmed, proven science. When pure instinct, fight or flight kicks in, higher brain function shuts down temporarily. Like your brain literally, do you want to know how much your brain shuts down? Your brain shuts down digestion in fight or flight. Your brain, it can't even digest. It also does that to prevent like cramping and yada yada yada. And the best thing I think I've ever read. Now, in 1982, Kennesaw, Georgia, passed a law requiring heads of households to keep at least one firearm in the house. The residential burglary rate subsequently dropped by 89% in Kennesaw compared to just 10.4% drop in Georgia as a whole. Today, the violent crime rate in Kennesaw is still 85% lower than Georgia's or the national average. That is honestly so safe that a person could probably leave their door unlocked at night.
But I'm still paranoid enough to just leave it locked. I check my doors every night before I go to bed. I make sure everything is locked. I make sure the alarm is on. I would do this if I was in a place like that. I would do it anywhere.
Yeah. I would still lock my door, but you see the point I'm trying to make here.
Oh yeah.
Also, you mentioned an alarm system. How long after you open the door does it take the alarm to go off?
It usually does a little beeping noise for about 30 seconds to 60 seconds, and if you don't turn it off, then it makes a loud siren noise, and then the police will be dispatched in about 20 minutes.
So an alarm system, while it might be nice to have, is really not that effective, is it?
No, it is not.
There you go, Greg. There's straight from the horse's mouth. A person who owns an alarm system just told you that it still takes about 60 seconds for that alarm to go off.
Some criminals may be scared off by the alarm, but if they have an agenda, they will take action before the cops show up.
Dude, listen, this is pretty morbid as well, but it's not hard to run through a house and find someone in 60 seconds. It's not. Seriously, even if I didn't live here, I could probably search my entire house, this entire house, in 30 seconds. Would not be hard at all. Why? Because most houses aren't 10 floors and 18 rooms. Most houses are 1 to 2 floors and with about maybe 5 or 6 rooms at most. Does that sound about right?
That sounds about right.
But you see my point, though. This is the whole thing. And I will provide all this information. This information will be provided. You will be allowed to read it for yourself. Now, Stout, I would imagine that you might want to read about Switzerland.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We almost forgot about Switzerland.
Almost forgot about good Switzerland. Good old Switzerland.
Okay. Gun politics in Switzerland are unique in Europe. Switzerland does not have a standing army, instead opting for a people's militia for its national defense. The vast majority of men between the ages of 20 and 30 are conscripted into the militia and undergo military training, including weapons training. The personal weapons of the militia are kept at home as part of the military obligations. Switzerland thus has one of the highest militia gun ownership rates in the world. In recent times, a minority of political opposition has expressed a desire for tighter gun regulations. A referendum in February 2011 rejected stricter gun control.
There, you see? Good old Switzerland.
And this is pretty weird because Europe is widely known for having a good amount of gun control as well.
Yeah, I know. Stout, where was that thing that I was telling you about Switzerland's crime rate?
It was like 0.07 out of 100,000 or something like that.
Gun crime. Here we go. It's down there at the bottom. Why don't you go ahead and tell them that? I've talked enough for the moment.
Gun crime. Government statistics for the year 2010 records 40 homicides involving firearms out of the 53 cases of homicides in 2010. The annual rate of homicides by any means per 100,000 in population was 0.70, which is one of the lowest in the world. The annual rate of homicide by guns per 100,000 population was 0.52.
Literally, globally, only 1 in 200,000 people. Now, let me do some more math here, all right? How many people are in the world? I believe it's about 7 billion now.
7 billion, that's right.
7? So, 70,000, 10,000. That is 100,000 million. So, 10 billion. So, 7 billion over 200,000. 35,000. 35,000 a year. Now, you know what? I know what some of you are going to say. Well, 35,000 is a lot. And I would love for those 35,000 people not to be killed. But the answer is not taking away the rights of the, taking away the rights of the, let's do the math again. 7, there we go. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, 10 million, 100 million, billion. The answer, my friends, is not taking away the rights of the 6,999,965,000 others.
But we have to have security, Random Xbox. It's the government's best interest to make sure its people are safe. We have to give up some of our rights.
Those who would give up freedom for security deserve neither and will lose both.
Benjamin Franklin, thank you for those wise words.
Let me look that up. Let me go. Freedom, security. Let's look up the actual direct quote. Here we go. Wikiquote.org/wiki, Benjamin Franklin. Ahem. Here we go. Here, it's a pretty long one. They that can give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. They that can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Those who sacrifice liberty for security deserve neither. He who would trade liberty for some temporary security deserves neither liberty nor security. He who sacrifices freedom for security deserves neither. People willing to trade their freedom for temporary security deserve neither and will lose both. If we restrict liberty to attain security, we will lose them both. Any society that would give up a little liberty to gain a little security will deserve neither and lose both. He who gives up freedom for safety deserves neither. Those who would trade in their freedom for their protection deserve neither, and those who give up their liberty for more security deserve neither liberty nor security. If I didn't know any better, I would say that he did not believe in giving up your freedoms. If I didn't know any better, do you think he believed that?
Obviously not. He spoke an awful lot about giving up liberty and not deserving security if you give up liberty for security, so you know he was a big, big advocate for freedom, for liberty. But obviously, we can't have that. That's politically incorrect nowadays.
Just, it doesn't, I don't know, dude. I'm just saying. He clearly was not, he clearly believed in giving up everything. Now, granted, a lot of those were paraphrased derivatives, but an earlier variant by Franklin in Poor Richard's Almanac said, "Sell not virtue to purchase wealth, nor liberty to purchase power." So, it's pretty clear that he was against giving up your liberty. And I'm not giving up my right to own a firearm. I'm not giving up my right to protect myself. I'm sorry, but who's going to win? A criminal that breaks the law who owns a gun versus me who only has a baseball bat. Who's going to win, Stout? In all seriousness, I'm being serious. Who do you think's going to win?
It's the obvious answer is the gun, of course.
I'm just saying, it's just the way it is. These people don't understand this crap. I don't understand where they get this.
No, but wait. There are other good weapons you can use, like the baseball bat and tasers and pepper spray. While they're good weapons to have as well against people that don't have guns, what about somebody else that has a gun? Are you gonna use Are you gonna use a freaking baseball bat on them?
You're not going to use a baseball bat. Oh, by the way, Sigmund Freud. I don't like the dude. Granted, he is the father of psychology, and I'm actually currently thinking about going into criminal psychology, but he said, a fear of weapons is a sign of retarded sexual and emotional maturity. I can't even read that with a straight face. I think that a fear of weapons is stupid. I just can't take anything that Freud said seriously. Samuel Adams said, "The Constitution shall never be construed to authorize Congress to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceable citizens from keeping their own arms."
Greg, I just gotta do another toast for you, my friend, because your sheer stupidity has had a great impact on us collaborating on this video today.
Alright, you're not going to believe what I just found. Here's one. Larry Elder. A woman who demands further gun control legislation is like a chicken who roots for Colonel Sanders. I don't know why that's so funny. I don't know why that's so funny to me.
Oh, I gotta finish up the rest of my drink with my mug. I'm just so into this video right now. I have to propose these toasts for Greg because of his sheer madness that he posts on YouTube. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the content. Thank you for influencing people to be critics against what you do. Thank you.
Oh, another good quote. Maybe this will be the last one, okay? Lieutenant Lowell Duckett said, "Gun control has not worked in D.C. The only people who have guns are criminals. We have the strictest gun laws in the nation and one of the highest murder rates. It's quicker to pull out your Smith & Wesson than to dial 911 if you're being robbed." Thank you, Lieutenant Duckett.
And thank you, Common Sense, and fuck you to Greg.
Yes, indeed. I believe that I reciprocate the emotion. Reciprocate? I mirror it. I agree with what Sty is saying. I don't know what else to say other than, Greg, you're full of crap. You are an absolute disgrace, and you disgust me.
And to end this video right here, I'm going to finish my drink right now in my nice mug. Now, Greg, I want you to take very good note of what this mug has to say. This is the action you need to do. You need to shut the fuck up. You need to stop being such a narcissistic egomaniac. And you really need some people in your life to give you a fucking intervention because of the psychopath that you are. Now, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, my friends. Look at that mug. Just Just observe it. Stout, hold your mug up for the people. Just sit there and let them bask in its glory for a moment.
That's a very, very sexy mug, isn't it?
Indeed. Indeed it is.
Oh, and if you're wondering where you can get this sexy mug from, it says on the bottom, it says Spencer's. You know, that store in the mall? They have some pretty cool stuff in there. In the back of the store, they do have sexual lingerie and sexual objects like dildos and stuff, but it's not a sex shop overall. And you can get band t-shirts there. You can get some really funny stuff there, too.
Why would I want any of that, you sick, disgusting human being?
But yeah, you can find this mug at Spencer's and spend a few dollars on it. It's really worth it. Oh, and I also have another one that I got from Spencer's after getting that white mug over there. I also have this mug right here that says a giant cup of I don't give a shit. And it's black.
Okay, no, that's not fair. That's not fair. I want that one. You do not get 2 mugs. You do not get 2 mugs.
I just did, motherfucker. Oh, I don't have anything in
Take a little note of your own mug. Yeah, I'm using your own mug against you. Okay, thanks, bye.
Oh, look at the yin-yang action going on right now.
But anyway, on this high note, I feel that I should bid adieu. Goodbye, my friends.
Alright, stay tuned for more videos. Take care, see you later. Cueing epic outro music now.